Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to teach you guys exactly how to control a contactor using 8-pin timer relay. So let's dive into it. So this is the diagram that we are going to use for this connection. If you look here, you can see that here is the timer coil. So if you look here, you can see that here is the timer coil. You can see that here is number 7 and here is number 2. If you look here also, you can see that here is number 2 and here is number 7. You can see input here and here is number 1. Number 1 and number 8 is the common terminal of this contactor. If you look here also, you can see that number 2, number 8 and number 1 is the common terminal. And number 1 is close to number 4 and open to number 3. And number 8 is close to number 5 and open to number 6. So if you want to use this timer to control a contactor, the first thing you are going to do is to connect your live and neutral wire to number 7 and number 2 of this timer. You can see number 1 and number 2 and number 7 here. You connect your live wire to number 7 and your neutral wire to number 2. Then from number 7 you loop to common terminal. You loop to number 1, the common terminal. Then you connect number 3 here to contactor coil, to A1 of the contactor coil. So if you look here, you can see that here is the A1 of the contactor coil. Here is the A1 and here is the A2. So that's how to do the connection. All you have to do is to connect your live wire from here to number 7. Then from number 7 you loop to number 1. You can use either number 1 or number 8. Anyone you want to use, just loop your live wire from number 7 to the common terminal, either number 1 or number 8. Then you connect your contactor coil to number 3. If you're using number 8, you connect your contactor coil to number 6. So let's go ahead now and do the connection. So first thing first, we are going to connect our live and neutral wire from our breaker to number 7 and number 2 of our timer. Remember, this is the timer base. This is where we do our connection. So you can see that here is number 7 and here is number 2, the coil. Let's go ahead and connect our live and neutral wire here. So I'm using this 2 wire. This is the red one, this is the black wire for the power supply. So let's go ahead and connect it now. So I'll lose my breaker this way and I'll connect my red wire here. So you can see how I'm doing it. So this is our live wire from our breaker. I'm going to connect this live wire to number 7 of our timer. Remember, number 7 and number 2 is the coil terminal. So I'm going to connect this to number 7. So you can see here, this is the number 7. So let's lose it this way and connect it. So you can see I'm putting the wire like this and tighten it. So now we are done. Let's go ahead and connect our neutral wire. If you look our diagram again, you can see that neutral wire goes from our breaker to number 2 of our timer. So let's go ahead now and connect it. I'm using black wire as my neutral. So let's go ahead and connect it. So I'll losing my breaker and put the wire. So this neutral wire, we are going to connect it to number 2 of our timer base. So here is number 2. So let's go ahead now and put it. So I'll lose it this way and connect it. So I'll put it this way and tighten it. So now we have successfully connected our live and neutral wire to our timer coil. Remember, number 1 and number 8, number 2 and number 1 is the input terminal, and we have already connected our live and neutral wire to number 7 and number 2 of our timer coil. So what we are going to do now is to loop our live wire from number 7 to number 1. Remember, you can use any of these two. You can decide to use number 8 or you can decide to use number 1. But bear this in mind, if you are using number 1, you are going to connect your contactor to number 3. And if you are using number 8, you are going to connect your contactor to number 6. So for the purpose of this training, I'm going to use number 1. So I'm going to loop my live wire from number 7 to number 1, the common terminal of number 4 and number 3. So let's go ahead and loop it. So to loop it, we are going to need a short wire like this. This wire like this. We are going to loop this wire from number 7 to number 1. So when you look our timer base closely, you can see that here is number 1. You can see number 1 written over here. So we are going to loop this wire from our live wire here to number 1. this line. So let's go ahead now and lose this here and put the wire. So I will lose it this way and put this wire this way. So now we are going to loop this wire here to number 1. Remember, you can decide to use either number 8 or number 1, but I'm going to use a number 1 for the purpose of this training. So you can see number 1 over here. Let's lose it and put our wire there. So do it like this and tighten it. So now we are done with our input wire. So let me show you what we do here again. Remember, from our breaker, we connect our live wire from our breaker to number 7 of our timer coil. Here is number 7. And from our break again, we'll connect our neutral wire from here to number 2 of our timer coil. Then from number 7, we loop to number 1. And remember that number 1 is close to 4 and open to number 3. So what this thing means is the moment you on your timer, this normally close is going to open and this normally open is going to close. So that's why we are going to connect our contactor to number 3, so that the moment we on the timer, the moment the time we set reach, this normally open is going to close and this normally close is going to open. So now what we are going to do now, if you look here, you can see that I connect number 3 to my contactor coil, to A1 of our coil. If you look here, you can see that here is the coil of our contactor. You can see that I connect number 3 from here to A1 of our contactor. And if you look here closely, you can see that here is the A1. You can see that here is A1 of our contactor. These two terminals, this is A1 and this is A2. This is the coil terminal of this contactor. And for this contactor to work, you must connect your live and neutral wire to A1 and A2 of this contactor. So what we are going to do is that we are going to connect, if you look here, we are going to connect from number 3 of our timer to A1 of our contactor. So let's go ahead now and do that. So I'm going to use a red wire for that. Let me go ahead and cut a red wire this way. So I'm going to use this red wire. I'm going to connect this red wire from my timer to A1 of our contactor. So let's go ahead and do that immediately without wasting much of our time. So I'll just clip the wire like this, and I'm going to connect this to my contactor. You can see that here is the A1 of our contactor. So let's go ahead and lose it and connect it. So this is how to connect it. And now if you look here, you can see that this A1 from our contactor connects to number 3 of our timer. So if you look here, you can see that here is the number 3 of our timer. You can see number 3 here. So we are going to connect our wire from our contactor to number 3 of our timer. So let's go ahead now and do that. So the wire is too long. I'm going to shorten it this way and strip it. So I'll peel it this way, and I will lose number 3 of our timer and put the wire this way. So you connect the wire this way and tighten it. Tighten it this way. And if you look our diagram again, closely again, you can see that number 1, that the neutral wire goes from here to A2 of our contactor. Remember, this is our contactor coil. Our neutral wire goes from here to A2 of our contactor. So we are going to connect our A2 directly to our breaker here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm using a black wire for that. So I will go ahead and lose A2 of our contactor this way. So I'll lose it this way and put the wire. So I'll put the wire this way and tighten it. So after that, you turn it this way and connect it to our breaker. So remember, the neutral will go to A2 of our contactor directly to our neutral line. So I'm going to connect it here. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'll put the wire this way and connect it to my breaker. So now we are done with the connection. So we are done with the control wire now. So the moment now I put my timer coil to this base and on my breaker, the contactor is going to magnet when the time we set here reach. So let's go ahead and put that. So I'm going to socket my timer here. I'm going to socket it this way, and I'm going to turn on the breaker now so that you can see how it works. So first I'm going to set our timer to 6 to 4 seconds. So when it reaches 4 seconds, our contactor is going to energize. So let's go ahead and do that. So it's counting. You can see our contactor energized immediately after 4 seconds. So now we have done with the control wire. So let's go ahead now and wire our load to our contactor. So let me go ahead now and turn our breaker on. So the first thing we are going to do is that we are going to connect from our breaker again to L1 and L3 of our contactor, and we are going to connect our load to T2 and T1 and T3 of our contactor. So for the purpose of this training, I'm using this bulb for the purpose of this training. So we are going to use this contactor to control this our bulb. So let's go ahead now and connect it. So I will peel it this way, and we are going to connect our red wire, our live wire to T1 and our black wire to T3 of our contactor. So let's go ahead now and do that. It's very simple. And guys, make sure you watch this video from beginning to an end so you will learn how to do that. So this is our bulb, and I'm going to connect our bulb to T1 and T3 of our contactor. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to lose our contactor this way. So I'll lose my contactor. I'll lose the T1 of our contactor and connect my live wire from our bulb. And our neutral wire from our bulb goes to T3 of our contactor. So now we are done with the bulb. So we are going to connect now L1 of our contactor directly to our breaker and L3 directly to our breaker also. Remember what this contactor does. This contactor is open. It's open like this, but when you supply your live and neutral wire to contactor coil, the contactor is going to magnet inside and it's going to close the line, allowing current to pass to your load. So we are going to connect our live wire from our breaker to L1 and our neutral wire from our breaker to L3 also. So let's go ahead now and do that. So I'm using this red wire. Let's go ahead and cut the normal size for it. So please guys, remember to subscribe to my channel and like this video, please. Please guys, like the video, please. So I'm going to connect this wire to L1 of our contactor. I'll lose it this way. So I'm going to connect this wire directly to my breaker. So let me go ahead and connect it. So I'll connect it to my breaker. So now let's connect our neutral again from our contactor to our breaker also. So now we are going to connect our neutral from L3 to our breaker. So let's go ahead now and do that. We will lose here also and put our wire. Guys, please remember to subscribe to my channel and like this video, please. Please guys. So this our black wire will go directly again to our breaker. So now guys, we are done with the connection. So let's go ahead now and test it. So let's go ahead and test it. So first of all, turn on my breaker. So, and before I on my breaker, I'm going to set our timer to 6 seconds. That means that our contactor is going to energize after 6 seconds. So let's go ahead and turn it. So for you to set it, you just turn this on, turn it to number to 6. So let's turn it. And the moment I on this breaker, our timer will turn on, and when the 6 seconds reach, this up light will turn on. So let's go ahead and do that. So it's counting now. Guys, you have seen it. Boom. Immediately after 6 seconds, our load turns on immediately. So this is how you can use a timer to control a contactor, and you can also use a contactor to control your load. You can use contactor can carry many things. You can use this to control you can use a contactor to carry electric motor, a water heater, air condition, and so many more. Contactor can carry a heavy load. So this is how to wire a timer and the contactor. You can see. So now let me go ahead now and set it to 8 minutes again. So what this means is that our load is going to turn on immediately after 8 minutes. So let me turn it on, and it's counting. Immediately after 80 seconds, our load will turn on. You can see, boom, our load turns on immediately after 8 seconds. So this is how you can use a timer to control it, to delay your load. You can decide to turn on your load anytime you need, anytime you want. The same way, you can also decide to off your load anytime you need. If you want to use this to turn off your load anytime, all you have to do is to use a number 4, the normally close. Remember what I told you, that number 3 that normally open is to on load, is to turn on your load, and normally close is to turn off your load. So if you want to use a timer to turn on your load, to turn off your load after some minutes or some seconds, you use a normally close. And if you want to turn on your load, you use a normally open. So, and you can use any of them. Remember, you can use number 8, which any one you want to use. Number 1 and number 8 is the common terminal. You can use either number 1 and number 8. Anyone you want to use, just loop your life wire from number 7 to the common. If you want to use number 1, you loop from number 7 to number 1. If you use number 8, you loop from number 7 to number 8. Then you connect your load to, if you're using number 1, you connect your load to number 3. And if you're using number 8, you connect your load to number 6. Then you connect it to A1 and the other to A2 of our contactor, and that's how to use it. So guys, this diagram here, I'm going to drop this diagram in our WhatsApp group chat. So if you need the diagram, you can join the WhatsApp group chat and download it, or you can also drop it on a comment section, and I'll send the diagram for you. So thanks so much for watching, and please guys, remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and follow along for more video like this. So thanks so much.